I'm telling you a story. This is a story of 2005. I was not yet married. And Wafa B.A. Mensah, as we call him, is a man that we had read about. And because of the exploits of his son, Herbert Mensah at Asante Kotoko, the name B.A. Mensah had been re-echoed to the younger generation. B.A. is of the 60s. He's an industrialist of the 60s and the 70s, extremely successful businessman. He was ahead of his time. He understood how to make business. He sold cigarettes. He sold all kinds of things, and he developed many things. He competed with international companies and was successful in beating international companies with the help of his sons, Herbert, and his other son, what's the name? The banker. I can't remember now. It'll come. Bernard, Herbert and Bernard Mensah. So Bernard is still very successful globally as a banker. I mean, there are top 10 bankers globally. Bernard Mensah will be one of them. I won't tell you where he works. You can Google Bernard Mensah from Ghana, and you see it. And Herbert Mensah, we all know. So B.A. Mensah had been idolized and was an iconic name and figure. So in 2005, it's a sad story for me, I have to say, viewers, very sad, because the one who called me on this matter was J.B. Dankwa Edu, who was one of B.A.'s proteges, and he actually stayed with B.A. for many years and worked with him. So J.B. Dankwa called me, I think it was sometime around July, because it was raining. And he said to me that, Papa would like to see you. And I said, in those days, we used to call President Kufuor also Papa. Those who were close to Kufuor called him Papa. I wasn't one of those who can call him Papa. I just call him Mr. President. But JB was one of those who can call President Kufuor Papa. So he said, Papa would like to see you. And I said, at the castle? He said, no, I don't mean President Kufuor. I mean B.A. Mensah. I said, for B.A. Mensah, what's the matter? He says, you come to the house. You know the house? I said, oh yeah, but Mensah has come there with me before, so I know the house. So I went to the house at the Airport Residential area. He was sitting upstairs, so I climbed with him. I had met him on the international travel to London a few times, and we had spoken, and I had idolized him, greeted him, and told him how I admire him, and he would smile. So when I went to see him, he was in like a lounge upstairs in his house, and he was walking. So I said, Wafa, now last time I was on the flight with you to London. When we got to London, you were wheelchaired away, so I thought that you were not well. He said, oh, no. You can also ask for a wheelchair when you are tired. I'm old, though. I'm old. How old are you? I mentioned he sort of smiled. He said, oh, no, I'm fine. There's no problem. And then JB said, okay, so he's here. He said, do you know what I want to do? I want you to do. I said, no. He said, how are you? I said, hi, it's good evening, Ghana. I said, I've been watching your program. I said, oh, thank you. Then he mentioned 2 or 3 programs that he had watched and laughed about it and all that. Then he said, I'm turning 80 years, you see. I said, oh, great. I want you to be the MC of my party. I said, oh, wow. I'm delighted. I'm completely delighted and overwhelmed. He said, yeah, I've been watching you. I've been watching the things you do. The people who are coming to my party are your people. They are politicians. So I want you to MC, welcome them, give them a good time, tell them great stories. Some of the stories I'll tell you, and then you tell them about my life. I hope that you can do it. I said, oh, I'm more than delighted to do it. So we started the arrangement. So come the D-Day, B.A. Mensah had that's for B.A. Mensah. Thank you very much. That's B.A. Mensah. May he rest in eternal peace. B.A. Mensah was a famous Ghanaian industrialist, and of his kind, we don't have any yet. I'm hoping that the young generation will give us 20 B.A. Mensahs so that Ghana will be great again. B.A. Mensah was very, very, very great. That's the man who gave birth to Bernard Mensah, the globally acclaimed international banker, and Herbert Mensah, the football administrator par excellence. That's B.A. Mensah. So then the day came, and the event was starting at 7 o'clock. So I got there at about 5:30, and I was observing the preparations. At about 7, a few minutes past 7, I saw the confident body of Wafa Kojo straddled into the ground and was checking, looking around. And so I approached him. I said, Wafa Kojo, hey, now I said, oh, I'm the MC for the event. He said, oh yeah, they told me you are the MC for the event. And I won't remember basa. I said, oh, I won't say any basa. Wafa Kojo is such an exciting and interesting man. I said, I'm not going to say any basa. He looked at me and said, nah, today we had our best. I said, oh, no. When it's time, I'll go and dress up. My suit is in there. He said, okay. I said, President Kufuor is coming. Oh, do I know? I said, yes, I've been told. He said, okay, so he's here to make sure that everything is fine. So where will President sit? Then the people took him around, the ushers, they sorted everything out. Okay. Then guests started arriving. I dressed up, guests started arriving. And I remember also, one of the early guests to arrive was Mr. Edward Akufo-Addo, the president's brother, current president. At that time, he was foreign minister, as he then was. So he came in and I approached. He said, "Oh, Paul, how you're here?" I said, "Yeah, I'm here." Edward is a very distinguished British man. "You're here?" I said, "Yeah, I'm here." I said, "Is the foreign minister coming?" And he said, "Well, he's giving dinner to some diplomats in his house at East Legon. I am anticipating that," he looked at his watch, "I'm anticipating that he'll be here around 8:15. Does he have a role on your list?" I said, "Yes, he has a role to say something about BMS." I said, "But when is that happening?" I said, "That happens after dinner." He said, "Oh, he'll be here. I think he'll come around 8:15. He's giving dinner to some diplomats." So I led him to sit. He sat down. And then came Kennedy Agyapong. Now, this is the story I'm telling you, viewers. This is the story. So Kennedy Agyapong, I've never seen him like that before. And I know of him, but I've never seen him like that before. So he walked in, and I walked up to him, and I said, "Kennedy." He said, "Hey, Abrantie." Now, over MC, and I said, and he laughed. I said, "Oh, yeah, be show program." I said, "Yeah, me too, I admire you, pa. I've not seen." He said, Listen. I have something for you." I said, "Something?" He said, "Yes, I have something for you." I was in America when I was in a shop and I saw a bottle green suit. He didn't know me. We'd never met. He said, "I was in America and I saw a bottle green suit. And I looked at the suit and I said, 'This is you.'" He didn't know me. I mean, he knows of me, but we had never met. He said, "I think this is you." I said, "Wow." He said, "Yes, so I have the suit for you. But it's in my house in Tema." So this was the party, I think, was a Wednesday or it was a weekday. Proper weekday. It wasn't a Saturday. I think it was a proper weekday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. He said, "Tomorrow, call me." So I took his number and come to Tema. Let me give you the suit because I bought that suit for you. And I was overwhelmed. I said, "Oh, wow, Kennedy Agyapong." So I went on and I was telling my friends who were at the party that Charlie Kennedy said he's bought me a suit. He said, "Do you know him?" I said, "No, I don't." He saw me. He says, "I've been watching you. I see the suit. I know that you like." I said, "Open life, pa. I'm sure open life, pa." So the next day, I went to Tema, to his house. I drove on the motor. I think it was in Committee 12. And I went to the house. I think it's a house that he didn't used to live there often. So he couldn't even find the key because the person living in the house was not there. He made some phone calls. We waited, and then the person came, got me the suit. I kept that suit for a very, very long time. I think I still have it. It's a bottle green suit, single-breasted, beautiful suit. It fit me, pepe. So that's my relationship with him. Great guy, fantastic guy. And I also said to you, to the people on the social media in the flyer that Kennedy Agyapong is a very reasonable man. I'll tell you why. That's a very sensitive story. He's a very, very reasonable man. We had conducted an interview here on Good Evening Ghana recently. Kennedy had said certain things in the interview. Post-interview, post-production, we had put the videos out on social media. A very, very important person called me and said, "Listen, I watched your interview with Kennedy. I think that it requires some corrections of some of the things he said." And I said, "Wow, this is getting very touchy and sensitive." "Really?" He said, "Yes. I think he should correct a few things he said that were not completely accurate." I said, "But Kennedy is going to challenge it. He's going to say that what he said was accurate." He said, "Well, that's why I'm calling you, to see how you can manage this." So I went to another important person and told him that, "Chief, this other important person says that I should do some changes or discuss with Kennedy about some narrative. I'm not sure how to approach Kennedy on this matter because he's going to get angry. The way he is, he can get angry at any time. I don't know how to approach him." So this other very important person said, "Okay, I'll talk to him. What is it about?" So I told him that the man says that. He said, "Wow." I said, "Yes, you see, Chief, you see." This second very important person sort of understood my sentiments. I said, "Yes." He said, "Let me talk to Kennedy, and then I will let you know that I've spoken to him so you can go to him." I said, "Okay." A few hours later, I got a call from his aide and said, "Charlie, the man says you can go and talk to Kennedy. He's spoken to him." So I called Kennedy. He said, "Now interview back when I me my eyeballs be brace. I will Good Evening Ghana and also I would mean 6,000 here there. They may buy when I face and be brain away." I said, "Oh, milk room." He said, "Only me fear there war." Oh, I was going to mention, but of course I can't disclose where he lives to the general public on TV. So only me fear there war X. I said, "Debut." He said, "Okay, Brahane frame metro." I got there, he called me, he said, "Come." I went. He sat down and he almost broke down. He said, "Paul, this thing, but for that second important person, I would never have obliged this request." I said, "I beg you." Because they said, "Wow." So that's the day I got to know that, oh, so behind the fiery thing, this man is that reasonable? I was so impressed. And he nearly broke down. He said, this is very difficult for me. But because of the second person you spoke to, who has spoken to me, it's okay. Go and make the correction. I said, Ofa Kennedy, thank you. He said, it's all right. And I left. And we did the correction. And the other important person called me and thanked me and said, oh, I saw the correction. Thank you very much. Everything is fine. Was he angry? And I said, well, after you spoke to me, I spoke to this other important person for him to talk to. He said, yeah, it's his person. It's his person. So he can talk to us. I said, yeah, that's what I thought. So I did that. And that's how we resolve it. So thank you very much. Everything is fine. So I walked out of that experience knowing that Kennedy Agyapong is a very, very reasonable man. He is, for sure. And he's a good man as well. The other thing I found about Kennedy in that experience is that he's 5,000% MPP. The MPP runs inside his DNA. But he gets angry, which is okay. I mean, even here in the studio, we get angry. I get angry with who gets angry with me. Mikael gets angry with somebody. I get angry with Terry. Terry gets angry with me. Antoinette gets angry with somebody. We get angry. So as for having a political party that is 6 million, a political party that is getting 6 million votes, probably has 1 million members. So among 1 million people, people will make people angry. That's always going to happen in any political party. NDC, MPP, WDC, Y, PUNC. People are going to get angry. Remind me of Hassan Ayariga's video, and we'll play it at some point anyway. So this may be our last story for today. It's 8 minutes to the top of the 10 o'clock viewers. So Kennedy gets angry, but he's a reasonable man. And I think he's a good man. And I believe that he's 5,000% MPP. He's just upset about something. And when he gets upset, he gets upset. So that's what I can say about my own personal experience with Kennedy Agyapong. He's a reasonable man. He's a good man. And he's 5,000% MPP. He's more MPP than many MPP. Kennedy is proper. The MPP is in his head, is everywhere. He's very, very MPP. And he loves to have fun. That I know you know already. You've seen his dancing in America and all of that. He used to have this party in America every Christmas. I don't know whether he still does it, but he'll carry people from Ghana, go to his house in America, go and shake it down, dance out, charge, jam, all that. He's a businessman. He loves fun. He's a good man. He's a reasonable man. He's MPP. So I wasn't surprised yesterday when this letter came from him, challenging some of the things that he's reported to have said. First about the MPP and about the campaign. I wasn't surprised. Let's have a look at the letter. It's on the touch screen. Let's have a look. Okay, so here is the letter. It's Kennedy Agyapong, MP Asin Central, and it's as follows. He says, my attention has been drawn to a video on social media which has since gone viral where I am heard saying that the MPP was looting the country as if there was no tomorrow. I wish to state that this is a complete and unfortunate misrepresentation of the actual content and focus of my message at that private event in Kumasi. It was a meeting with a small group of MPP communicators who had organized a small fundraising for me at the weekend. At the event, I lamented the fact that our communicators were letting the party down and that every government would have its fair share of corruption cases, especially in 8 years. But because of 1 or 2 bad cases, which the authorities were handling and in a transparent manner as it should be, we have sadly allowed the ruthless opposition propaganda machinery, the mass media, and the social media to create the deadly impression that MPP was looting as if there was no tomorrow, including allegations of stashing funds abroad. I wish to stress the point that the offending video was culled from a private meeting with some communicators in Kumasi, Ashanti region, over the weekend and edited to purposefully create a disaffection towards me, Kennedy Agyapong, and to bring the Akufo-Addo government into disrepute. Indeed, I told the gathering not to be fooled by the lies against our government and party. I also expressed my anger and unhappiness about the way we were allowing ourselves to be unfairly bashed in the media, especially social media, as if we were worse than NDC, which is certainly not the case. I am fully aware of the commitment shown by President Akufo-Addo in deeds and institutional reforms in combating the canker of corruption in Ghana and the challenges that entail. So you see the language of Kennedy Agyapong. See how the language completely is different. He says that. Here he's talking about Akufo-Addo, isn't he? He says, I am fully aware of the commitment shown by President Akufo-Addo in deeds and institutional reforms in combating the canker of corruption in Ghana and the challenges that it entails. I remain a committed member of our great party and hope to lead us in our quest to break the eight, as together we face John Mahama and the NDC for the showdown on December 7th, 2024. Showdown now has become part of the political palace. So you see what I was saying? What is in this letter, for me, represents everything I know about Kennedy. Party loyalist, reasonable man, good man. This letter reflects everything I know about Kennedy Agyapong. As far as I am concerned, I can't say I know him that well, but I know him sufficiently. And as far as I'm concerned, this letter reflects Kennedy Agyapong's spirit and attitude. He's a reasonable man, he's a good man, and he's an MPP man. That's what it reflects. So when I saw the letter, I wasn't surprised at all. When people were sending it to me, because I've told this story to a few people, when they were sending it to me and saying that this is your man is talking the thing you know about him. Oh, Kennedy has said something. So, I don't have a vote on November 4th. But I don't know if I had a vote if I would give it to you. But I think that you're a reasonable man. I think that you're a good man. And I believe that you are MPP. I believe that all of these matters and quarrels and all of that will end. Yesterday, Chairman Wontumi said something about Mensah. You know Wontumi is my man. He just said it. Wontumi just said it. Wontumi and Kennedy are close. Did we not show you a video the other day where the two of them were talking about an ass in the studio where Wontumi said, "Now Onisi Kenny Kasada," Kennedy said, "Now Kasimi," and that they are very good friends. I don't know why this small matter can create that problem, but it can create it in a human situation. I was telling you, in the studio, we fight. So when you have a political party of plenty people, there will be fights, especially if there's a contest. There will be fights. So